She held many titles, many nicknames. They called her a cook, a millionaire, a madame, a mammy, and a witch. And these names were given to her throughout her journey. She fed powerful men, stole secrets from them at dinner tables, and turned whispers into fortune. She founded slave revolts, sued her way into civil rights victory, and built a mansion so full of secrets it was known as the House of Mystery. To white San Francisco people, she was a voodoo queen. To her people, she was Black City Hall. This is the story of Mary Ellen Pleasant, the hoodoo millionaire whose spirit still walks San Francisco. Hey y'all, I'm BlaqueWitchYaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I'm back with another story of an individual who ties perfectly between Black history and hoodoo history. So, Mary Ellen Pleasant. She never told the same story about her beginnings. Some said Philadelphia, others Georgia or Virginia. One version claimed her father was a Hawaiian merchant, another that she was born enslaved. But what we do know is that as a young girl, she was sent to live with a Quaker family on Newtucket. There, she learned business at the store counter, memorizing accounts by heart even before she could read or write. She was about her bag at an early age. She listened as abolitionists met in the back, absorbing the language of the rebellion, basically being nosy. But from the very beginning, secrecy was her survival. In Boston, she was married to James Smith, who was a wealthy abolitionist who sometimes passed as white, but he wasn't. Together, they ferried fugitives along the journey of the Underground Railroad, smuggling enslaved people north, east, even south into Mexico. Mary wasn't content with just waiting in safe houses. She disguised herself as a stable hand, slipping onto plantations to lead people out herself because she also passed as white. So she used that privilege as a way to help others. In the midst of helping out slaves, her husband passed away, but he left her $45,000 in a note that said, "Use it for the cause." And she knew exactly what that cause was and took that as the go-ahead to continue on with the journey, but just as a new role. So during this time, the Slave Act was getting stronger. So while that was going on in the East Coast, meanwhile in San Francisco in 1852, it was raw. Gold hungry, frontier, muddy streets, men chasing fortunes, corruption around every corner. So while all this "I need to go get the gold" commotion was going on, she took on a new role that would help keep her cover, which was a cook. And she wasn't just an ordinary cook. Her food was so good, she had men begging and fighting each other to cook for her. They enjoyed her meals. They got real comfortable. They got a belly full. They paid her extra, like, no, come to my house first to cook. No, skip them. Come to my house first to cook. So, of course, the money was talking, and she's going to go to the highest person paying because she knew, okay, they willing to pay all this money. They got something going on. They know something. So as she cooked, "Here's your plate, sir. Here's your plate, sir," she would stand off to the side and listen to their conversations because at the table, she served the city's elites, bankers, politicians, miners, judges. So while she's carrying around the roasting potatoes, pouring wine, she was listening. She would serve it slow, adjust their napkin, make sure they had all their silverware, just trying to keep herself busy because she's listening like, okay, so he said it's good to invest in this. He's going to take his money out of this. Oh, he said that this is that they're about to build this and work on this. So she's taking in all this information. Who was striking gold? Where was the next railroad headed? Which deals would be sealed by morning? The kitchen was her mask to take in information that she used as her weapon. She took her profits and invested in laundries, boarding houses, hotels, mining stocks, even what we know today as Wells Fargo. She lent at 10% interest and rolled her money over and over. By the mid-1960s, she was officially a millionaire, but she kept that cover of just to help, just to cook, because what was going on at the time, and I feel like still today, they feared Black ambition. Being underestimated was the safest disguise because people felt more comfortable around you to say stuff. If they don't look at you as competition, they'll reveal all their secrets benefits to you, but it's up to you how you use the information. So she knew, like, let me not flaunt my money, let me just still stay the good old cook. So now we were introduced to Mary as the cook, but let's get to know her as Black City Hall, because Black individuals in San Francisco called her Black City Hall, because if you needed a job, a loan, a lawyer, some protection, a man to do a little something, they went to Mary. She hid enslaved people illegally, smuggled into California, placed Black workers into good jobs, told them, hey, just keep your head down, get the information, we'll meet about it. She funded defenses against kidnappers. She even backed John Brown's rebellion at Harper's Ferry, and she fought the law head on. In 1863, she helped overturn the ban that kept Black testimony out of California courts. There was a law in place that made it illegal for Black people to testify in court. 1866, she sued streetcar companies for tossing Black riders from their seats. By 1868, the California Supreme Court struck down segregation on San Francisco streetcars, a century before Rosa Parks. So Mary just wasn't conjuring with powders and candles, she was conjuring justice. And speaking of these powders and candles, let's get into this mystery house and the mystical side of her. So now she's partnering with Thomas Bell, who's a Scottish financier, and together they built a 30-room mansion in Pacific Heights. It loomed over the city, part palace, part fortress, and people called it the House of Mystery. And here's why. So Mary was initially living in this big old house by herself, but she then moved in Thomas Bell and his wife Teresa and their children. Outsiders were gossiping like, oh, is she like a lover? Why would she move in this family? But she moved in that family because she knew Thomas Bell at first wasn't married, but then she was like, listen, you need to get married because people looking at you crazy, like, why you a successful man and you're not married? So go ahead and marry Teresa, have a couple kids so you can look like a nice family man, that you got your life together. Let's all move in this house so we could keep our things going and make all these changes. But people on the outside were like, they got to be sleeping together, because why would a married man move into a house with a single woman? Is she actually the help? Did she even buy this mansion? Is she really that rich? But on the inside, she controlled the servants, the finances, the deeds, and people even started saying that she had to put a spell on Thomas and his wife to put them under her influence, that she was the real head of the family, calling all the shots, because they couldn't imagine a white family actually fighting for Black justice like they were. So when Thomas fell to his death, literally, he fell from an upstairs window in 1892. Rumors turned into accusation that Mary had pushed him to his death to inherit all his finances. And people are just wondering, like, lady, this is the second man that has been around you that has just suddenly passed away. What are you doing? So this is where the witch part comes in as one of the names she was called. So the press already had her villainized. Like I said earlier, she was able to pass as white, but as she started doing all of these moves to help out Black people in the system, they realized, okay, ain't no white women doing all this hooting and hollering about Black people. You must be Black. You're a nigga. That put even more of a target on her back. And this is where she got the derogatory nickname as Mammy Pleasant instead of Mary Pleasant to mock her. And then she earned the title as Voodoo Queen as well, just because of all the mystery that was surrounded by her. They accused her of stealing babies, selling women, cursing senators. During the Sharon versus Hill trial, where she backed Sarah Hill against Senator William Sharon, newspapers claimed she used dolls and spells to sway the case. And then when Sharon, the senator, dropped dead during the chaos, they printed it as proof she was a witch, because again, another man randomly dies and something goes into her favor. They even considered her charity twisted. She gave loans to struggling families, defended young women from predatory men, but papers said she was running brothels. That's why she was helping out the women, because she was running brothels. They called her dangerous, cunning, evil, but to those she actually helped, she was protection. She really did know her stuff. That ties into her history, having Haitian blood in her as well. She knew her ancestors practiced hoodoo, and so she carried that on, and wasn't afraid to carry a crystal ball in public, taunting the press that turned her faith into a circus. And speaking of crystal ball, let's have a Wendy Williams witchy moment and have a crystal cam, because if you like what you see, shop BlaqueWitchYaya.com. I am wearing a citrine cuff and an amethyst and fluorite crystal ring. So after Thomas Bell's death, his wife, his widow now, Teresa, turned on Mary, suing her for the theft and accusing her of her husband. So court dates after court dates drained her fortune, and by 1899 she declared bankruptcy. And when she eventually fell ill, people in San Francisco sent her flowers and cards, took care of her however she needed. The same city that slandered her couldn't deny her power and her impact. January of 1904, at 89 years old, Mary Ellen Pleasant passed away. Despite her positive impact, her obituary called her a noted negress, and then made a shady remark about her charity was as numerous as the graves on her head. So when you walk past Octavia and Bush today and the eucalyptus still stand, tour guides whisper that if you talk ill of Mary while you walk past her land, the trees will punish you. Some say she still walks her corner at night, guarding her legacy. At her grave, people leave beads, candles, veves, not to demonize her, but to honor her. Mary Pleasant was a cook, a conjurer woman, a mother of civil rights. She turned survival into sorcery and knew exactly how to work her weapon of information to make impact, turning recipes into riches, gossip into investments, and racism into court victories. Her true hoodoo was power, knowledge, and the utilization of it. And if her spirit still lingers in San Francisco, it's because some forces are simply too strong to just bury. I wanted to present this story to you guys because I know when I speak of hoodoo, voodoo, or anything magical, we talk about literal candles and bags and dolls, but I also wanted to emphasize how information can be used in hoodoo and anything ritualistic as well, because the main part of any spell or workings that you are doing are your words, and words are just the outcome of the memories, experiences, and knowledge that you have. So being able to use your knowledge and your words correctly can dictate a lot of changes in the work that you are doing. So I wanted to introduce you to a conjurer woman who used her wit, words, and information to create changes, to manifest a difference in her community. So let me know down below, what information did you eavesdrop on, or something that you learned that made a very big impact in your life, in your ritual work, in your hoodoo work, whatever. Let's have a conversation down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and like I always say, as above so below, as within so without, as the universe so the soul. Until next time, you guys, I share.